Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with a qualifying round win for the Spring Major Tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, make sure that you do hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Do, like many others have already done, get the Ultimate Tournament Guide for Master Division, or for that matter Pro and Expert Division as well, by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side where I list the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, ball and club type that I do suggest you to play with. You don't have to follow what I do suggest, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number one. Hole number one, we're going to play aggressive on the left hand side. We do have headwind, which we will have a lot in this qualifying round. We start at complete max distance with the Apocalypse level 8. Yellow rain to the left by the rough to the left. That's going to be the same with Apocalypse level 7. Adjust is maximum distance plus 10. And the good part with Apocalypse level 8 is that it is actually 1-1. One ball of curl to the left here. I'm gonna try to hit perfect while using max overpower. You may be wondering, what can you do if you don't have a Spartan ball? You can play with a Nutcracker, Cyber, any other power 4, win 4 ball, trying to play the same type of shot. The only thing that will happen there is that you may go a little bit shorter on the drive sometimes, but I do have a plan for you there as well. The shot here though is tough in the sense of if you do hit a bad great left or a bad great right, you may go into the rough, and that could potentially destroy the chance that you do have for an eagle here on this shot. Because if you do a good drive, you're going to have a wedge towards the pin. And now we're going to look for max distance, trying to see where that is. You can see there we do have max distance. It's approximately 2 green squares before the pin. And that mark is 85% slider with a 50% over adjustment. And here we're going to have to adapt with backspin to make sure that the ball guideline still goes through the hole, but not as much as I'm having here on the video. You can see that I'm struggling finding the correct backspin, and we should honestly have had a little bit more of backspin here for this shot. But again, by that reference at the max distance, we play once again 85% slider, 50% elevation, and that's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be 12 rings. That's going to be obviously tough to adjust from that not zoomed in position that we're having there. So we're going to hit perfect in the end, and you will see this one do a double bounce in the hole. That's because we do not have all the backspin that was really needed for this type of shot. So what to do if you do play with a win 4 power 4 ball? If you go short, you play from minimum distance line with your short iron instead, trying to obviously adapt the backspin based on that. And also, those of you playing with Apocalypse 5 or Apocalypse 6, I would strongly advise you to play with a win 5 power 4 ball. Otherwise you will most likely not get over the rough directly with after your first bounce, and that's going to obviously cause a problem as well. Tough one to start with on hole number one, but we do have a money shot here to get ourselves an eagle. For hole number two, you will see two types of shot that I picked amongst the team here, and we shall start by using just a regular bounce up shot here. 5 backspin, 3 bars of side spin to the right. We are now looking to be just at the plus 3 yard mark with the blue ring, sorry, the red ring just barely into the rough on the right, as you can see there. The second bounce shall be just at the start of the fringe. Adjustment for this shot shall be maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, power 2 ball settings. And what we're aiming for is to have no 1201 and go for a straight pull angle. We adjust, and then we shall obviously hit perfect. The ball will then bounce and catch the sticky spot that is on the green and roll for a lovely hole-in-one here on hole number 2. You may be wondering why play with a Centurion here where we can play with a Win 5 ball. It's because we are somewhat dependent on adjusting down into the bunker. Because if we don't adjust down into the bunker, we will gain more distance and then the adjustment is going to be completely different. So this shot is designed to be worked with a Win 4 ball. So a Centurion or a Kingslayer for that matter is the ball to choose here for first option on hole number 2. But we're not done yet. I will show you a rough bump shot which is absolutely money, and we shall take a look at that one now. For the rough bump option, we will see a shot with the Guardian. And in this case, we shall be using 2 bars of side spin to the right and 0.9 bars of top spin. It's recommended to use a side spin 2 ball here to find the correct side spin already from the start, as that could be tricky with a side spin 3 ball. Now, we're looking to have half of the bottom yellow ring into the bunker, with the ball guideline pointing right of pin. And as you will notice, there is a sticky spot there, which is definitely something that we will benefit from. Now, the adjustment shall be with a 12:01 pull angle, and we do adjust for maximum distance with a 30% over adjustment, power to ball settings. Make sure that your pull angle isn't too wide, because if it is too wide, you might risk missing the rough completely. So this is an aggressive shot that is technical, but if you do it correct, this has been absolutely money by the reports that has been shared. And I want to in the end credit to David, which has been the one that shared this shot from the beginning, and you know, super pleased. This is an absolute money shot and is well recommended. The reason we play with the Guardian is because we do not want to force ourselves to play with a sniper and power 4 ball, as a power 3 ball will go in between clubs due to the less amount of power on the sniper compared to the Guardian. For hole number 3, I'm going to show you a very safe approach here from videos from a friend of mine, because I've been, you know, going around trying many different type of aggressive drives, but decided in the end to just say, okay, sure, I could push it extremely aggressive here, try to get myself to maybe a decent chance with a wood club, but to be completely honest, I don't think it's worth it. So that's why we're going to play a more safe route here for hole number 3 in the qualifying round, to make sure that we're not going to lose out on the eagle. Maximum distance plus 10 is what we're using. 4 bars of top spin, 3 bars of side spin to the right. And looking at the result here, you can most definitely go like a 1 or 2 bars of top spin more to try to get closer to the rough. It doesn't really matter as well, as you know, you could add more topspin here and get further up, but as you will see here for the second shot, we're gonna have no problem to reach for a very safe layup shot that we are going to do. So here I'm basically just going to have to go right side, use all the side spin possible, and then try to just aim with topspin or with backspin depending on how far you are up, but it will most likely be topspin to be basically by the green height. Once that is done, when you find your position, you do go maximum distance plus 10 here, and if you do adjust into overpower, you shall use a little bit of overpower, but again, you don't need to use much. As you can see, it was 1 ring into overpower, then it's 1 ring to be used. The curl was halfway into the wall to the left. That could also add more if we do want to push it harder, but again, there is no point. We just want to lock in the eagle here, which we do with a very short wedge there towards the pin. A Kingmaker X type of ball is perfect here. Again, you don't have to play with a Wind 4, Power 4, Side Spin 3, so you can play with a Wind 3, Power 4, Side Spin 3 ball as well. And again, you can push the drive a little bit harder to make sure that you get a couple of extra yards, but as you will notice on the par 5s, I'm focusing on to be a safe way to lock in the eagle, because there is no point in pushing it too hard on the par 5s here, trying to get an albatross, which we will make birdies more times than we will make albatrosses here in the qualifying round. for hole number 4, we shall start with whatever power 4 ball you have to find complete minimum distance with the red ring to the left by the sand trap line. Once that is done, we add 4 bars of backspin and 0.6 bars of side spin to the left, which is, or like should be, a little bit less than what I have there on the video, because that is a little bit too much in my opinion. So now change to whatever wind 5 ball you have. Medium distance with a 20% over adjustment, power 2 ball settings. And we try to go for a flicker 1159 pull angle and try to hit perfect. Perfect ball. Now you will notice that having too much side spin will make the ball miss left. But we're not going to miss left, but we're going to take a 360 in the hole. But that's why it's so important to have the correct side spin there. But this is also a money shot and has been dropping loads for us. But the only tricky part is obviously the side spin. Get that one correct and you will see this one drop many times. This is going to be fun. Hole number 5, we play with a luminary ball. We do want to have a wind between 10 and 12 miles per hour. Red ring, as you can see here now, is by the rough line with apocalypse level 7 and level 8 shall be. We shall adjust in this case maximum distance plus 10, power 4 ball settings. When we have adjusted, we push up to max. 2 bars of side spin to the left. I'm using 7.5 bar top spin. 1 ball of curl to the left is used as well, and we are trying to hit perfect. Great left, just a very minor one. And you will see here that it bounced nicely on the fairway. Over to the next fairway. Over the rough almost, but into the rough and roll out. And now we do have a very easy wedge for an eagle. So, this is the shot that we're going to do in regardless what wind we're going to have. The only difference that we're going to make is that we're going to tweak the topspin based on what wind we're having. Because if we're using too much topspin in 12 miles per hour, we will in that case bounce that ball with the from the first to the second bounce. The second bounce will be directly into the bunker. And that is not something we do want to happen. So, what we will do is in 12 miles per hour or higher wind, 5.5 bar topspin, and when we do play with 10, the lowest type of wind, we shall in that case go with 7 bars of topspin, not 7.5, because the problem we have with that shot that we had there is that I'm using too little curl. I do want to have like 1.2 ball curl outside the adjustment ring to the left, instead of the curl that we had here, which was only 1 ball. This shot is, however, money, and we in the team has been super successful with this one, but I wanted to tweak it a little bit now for you as well, so we can have, you know, even better effect on this one. And I'm honestly not ruling out that we might, if we're lucky, can roll this one in for an hole-in-one. Finally, a fun hole when it comes to a, to a par 4, or a par 5 for that matter, in Master qualifying round. Okay, so we do come to hole number 6, and hole number 6 is going to be a tough one, as the rest of the par 5s is in this qualifying round. We start with the top of the yellow ring by the rough line with spin added. We add max top spin, 1 bar side spin to the right. The ball guideline should point to the right side of the top left bunker, and if you rewind or just pause it at the beginning of when I set up the drive, then you will notice what I'm talking about. Maximum distance plus 10, power 5 ball settings, and I'm using approximately 1.5 ball outside the adjustment ring to the right in curl. No overpower whatsoever here, because it's not needed. That's the same with Apocalypse 5 and Apocalypse 6. The difference with Apocalypse 5 and Apocalypse 6 is obviously the top spin. Or like the difference between an Apocalypse 5 and 6 with 7 and 8 is that you do have very little topspin. So it would be recommended to play with a big dog or a Cataclysm for the second shot to make sure that you do have the distance. Because even though we're going to get close here with a great, it's not that I'm expecting this one to drop. Again, it's the qualifying round, and we should just take it very carefully, in my opinion. And first and foremost, you know, like play in a way that we will have room for a great left and a great right. Obviously, a great right will be no problems, but with a great left as well. You can see here now that we are at +6, and I'm going to play this one 40% over adjustment, and going to try to use the slider here to get myself a nice number. So I would say 92% slider from +6. That is not what I do adjust though, but that is what I estimate the correct adjustment to be. And you can see as well that I do pull 10 rings, then I push the rest of the rings and get myself into the correct spot. Great right here in the end, and you see here now I do bounce on the fairway and we roll down towards the pin, and unfortunately we do just miss right side of the pin. Once again though, hole number 6 does require a decent chunk of luck in my opinion when we play with so much elevation and from so far away. And again, it's the qualifying round, so be careful and make sure that you lock in the eagle so you don't push it too hard and miss an aggressive shot and then maybe lose the eagle just because of that. Hole number 7, I will give you 2 options, one with an aggressive rough bump, which is recommended, and one where we do play on the right side to bounce up towards the pin. 6 bars of backspin, and we shall be using the bottom of the inner ring by the edge of the sand trap line. Once that has been found, we add half a bar of side spin to the right. And then you maybe have thought already that you can actually do that already from the start. Just look at the ball guidelines position. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So you can skip the first part if you want to, but it's up to you which way you want to do. 1201 pull angle, very important, and this one shall not go any 1159 whatsoever. If it does, you risk missing the rough completely, and that is not what we want to do. Maximum distance with a 15% over adjustment, power 1 ball settings, but we're playing with a power 2 ball. We will hit the rough pretty high up in the rough, and that's totally fine. That's kind of meant to happen, and that's why it is aggressive, because we need to have every part correct here, otherwise we might risk missing completely there, and that is not something that we do want to do. But if we do hit the rough, this is a very good shot and a very good chance for making a drop. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, as already mentioned several times, we shall be playing on the right hand side, which I will show you now. The right hand side is going to have one thing that is very tricky, and that is to find the correct position. The spin is super simple though, 3 bars of left spin, 5 bars of back spin. But now the tricky part starts, because now I would recommend to turn the screen around so we are looking at it coming from right to left. And you will notice that that it's going to be done like that in the end. You can see here now when it zooms in, and now we're looking to have somewhat 1/3 of the blue ring into the rough, with the ball guideline going short of pin but pointing towards the pin, obviously. Now I do feel that we are a little bit too much left here in my opinion, and you see here now that is not 1/3 of the blue ring, so we need to have like 1/3 of the blue ring there. So you are a little bit too far to the left, and that will also show when it comes to the result here. Medium distance with a 10% over adjustment, power 1 ball setting. Bounces nicely on the fairway and getting it down and getting it super duper close for a drop. And the thing that is a risk with this shot is basically nothing. Sure, if you hit a bad great left, you will still hit the fairway with your first bounce, but the second bounce will clip the rough, and you will have a super short wedge for a birdie. So if you feel uncomfortable with the rough bump option, which still is going to be option number 1 in my book, then you shall be playing on the right side and just feel comfortable with that you will be close if you hit perfect, but it's not going to be a 100% drop. That's for sure. Hole number 8, we start off by playing with a power 3 win 5 ball. Max top spin, 1 bar of side spin to the left. Look at my second bounce here. That is just before it clips away by the rough. And now when it comes to the rings of my club, I do not really care where they are. My main focus is the second bounce just before the rough line there. Adjust max plus 10, and then we will go with no overpower. if we do adjust into overpower, which could be a risk with high wind and playing with Apocalypse level 6 for an example, then you shall in that case go with that amount of overpower that you do adjust into. If you do have the Thor Hammer level 7 plus and only have Apocalypse level 6, which I actually have personally on one account, use the Thor's Hammer instead to make sure that you do have the top spin enough to bounce over the rough. You can play this shot with a Wind 4 ball as well, but it's not recommended to play with a Wind 4 ball with anything else than Apocalypse level 7 plus. Second shot, we're going to do a pin check. So we're going to take our target directly up towards the pin here. You can see here we're going to do that now. +3 is where we are at. From +3 we shall be playing 10% elevation with 18% slider. Top of the red ring by the rough line, 1 backspin, 1 left spin always. Okay? Hole guideline will go through the hole, and now the final piece to our lovely puzzle here in hole number 8 is to go with a 12/1 pull angle. Not a strong one, but it shall be a clear 12/1. We do adjust, and then we're gonna take our shot. No curl, obviously, no overpower either. So we're going to hit perfect, and this one is gonna come in just lovely. Right that pin for a beautiful eagle here in hole number 8 with, you know, somewhat a tricky adjustment for the second shot, but if you follow the pin check method there, you will have a really good chance dropping this one over and over and over again. We end up with hole number 9, and once again on a par 5 here for the qualifying round, we will be playing in headwind. So we use all the top spin that we can use. 1 bar of side spin to the left, and I'm starting with half of the blue ring into the rough on the left at the +12 yard mark. Using a power 5 ball, and you are probably noticed already that you can play this shot with a different power 5 ball if you want to. The problem with that is that you will have to go with more overpower if using a ball with less wind resistance. 1.5 ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the left. I'm using 2 rings of overpower if I'm playing with Apocalypse level 7, level 8. I would double that amount if I do play with Apocalypse level 6. Max +20 for the drive, if that's not said, I can't remember already. But max +20 is what we're using as for adjustment, and we're getting it down the fairway nicely to 406 yards. Second shot is just going to take the ball to transport the ball down towards the pin. The problem with this spot that we're playing is that, you know, this is no consistent rough bump play, even though the ball guideline shows that it should be rolling towards the pin. So this is a very tricky shot, and there is a big risk for us here with the glitchy ball guideline to misadjust with the topspin and maybe roll over the green completely if you're not careful. So once again, this is a route that is going to be completely safe for you to get the ball at least down and out to be a wedge on the fringe or just before the fringe, or you're gonna have a simple putt for the eagle. We do adjust max +20, adding a little bit of curl to the left and also adding 1 ring of overpower in the end, just to make sure that we're not going to go short here with this shot. In the end, we clip the rough. We do not clip the rough there at the top, and we go super duper short. And once again, as I said on the par 5s throughout this playthrough, in the qualifying round, we play it safe. We focus on the other holes to try to get some drops, and we are not going to gamble with some really tough albatross attempts when we will have a much higher risk of missing out on the eagle. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for the qualifying round in the Spring Major Tournament Master Division. Get the ultimate tournament guides for Master Division or Pro or Expert by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Once again, thank you for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.